Hi, I'm Kristal Hart, and welcome to the Kristal Hart Show. We are at the Metropolitan Club in New York City, where the Friends of the Vietnam Veterans Plaza are honoring the Honorable Charles F. Bolden Jr. He is the 12th Administrator for NASA. He is a retired U.S. Marine Major General and a former astronaut who flew Four Space Shuttle Missions. Charles F. Bolden Jr. With us, Charles F. Bolden Jr., who was the 12th Administrator for NASA. He is a retired U.S. Marine Major General,
Yes,
and also a former astronaut who flew in 4 space shuttles. First of all, what did the Marines, how did it prepare you for space?
I think just being a Marine is preparation enough for going to space. It's physically the demands of getting through, the Naval Academy and then Marine Corps basic training was a little bit tougher than getting ready to go to space physically. The hard part about going to space is just learning all the details about the vehicle on which you're going to fly. I'm a shuttle era guy, and it was a very, very complex vehicle that involved a lot of interaction with the crew. But being a Marine Corps aviator and a test pilot, I was pretty well prepared for that also. So perfect preparation, if I can say so.
And what did you like better? Did you enjoy being an administrator or an astronaut?
That's a difficult question, and I think from the standpoint of personal experience and excitement, of course, being an astronaut, having an opportunity to go to space for any period of time is phenomenal. And I was blessed with the opportunity to go 4 different times on 3 different vehicles. And I had incredible crews and missions each time, 4 distinctly different missions. Being the administrator was rewarding in that I think the biggest thing about it was the opportunity at leadership again, having an opportunity to form alliances with our international partners. NASA has more than 800 active international agreements with more than 120 countries around the world. And a lot of people find that flabbergasting because some of them are just tiny little contracts or agreements on education, and we go all the way to human spaceflight. So both were exciting and rewarding, but in different ways.
And during your tenure, what was accomplished?
Oh, while I was the NASA administrator, because I was there for both of the Obama administrations, for both terms, we put Curiosity on Mars. We got ready to put Perseverance on Mars, which is there now, another rover. We're discovering things with flying a helicopter on Mars now that I did not believe we could do before. We're well down the road to preparing to send humans back to the moon and then on to Mars, hopefully.
Why is Mars so important?
Mars is really important because Mars is the only planet in our solar system that harbors any semblance to Earth in terms of could it sustain life? Could it have sustained life? At one time in Mars's history, in its billion-plus-year history, we think Mars was sort of like Earth. It was a very fertile planet and everything. It's got lots of water, we know.
Oh, it does have water?
It's got water all over the place, just under the surface. And that's what's critical, because any place we find, you know this, any place you find water, you find life. And so that's what's got us all excited about Mars. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And where do you see NASA going from here?
NASA is and always will be the leader in terms of space exploration, science, technology development. I tell people that NASA is next to the Department of State and maybe the Department of Defense, we're the greatest soft power tool that the United States has. We can deal with nations on a routine basis that diplomatically we have a very difficult time dealing with. The best example is Russia. We are not friends with Russia on the ground, and yet we are totally independent, totally dependent on Russia. They are totally dependent on us to operate successfully on the International Space Station, as we've been doing now for 21 years. There's not been a second over that 21-year period of time. No kid who's 21 years or less has taken a breath when we haven't had at least a Russian and American astronaut and cosmonaut working cooperatively on the International Space Station. And that's tremendous soft power, ability to lead without having to go to war.
There's not that many countries involved, are there?
There are, there are actually,
I could be wrong
when you count the European Space Agency, which is a conglomerate of 22 different nations, 16 of which pay into the International Space Station, We have actually flown representatives from in excess of 15 countries on the International Space Station over that 21 years. So there are quite a few countries participating. Now that we've moved into what I think was the most important accomplishment of the Obama administration in my term as the NASA administrator, we've actually achieved moving NASA away from providing transportation to space to utilizing commercial capability to do that so that NASA can spend its resources on getting humans back to the moon and onto Mars. And we rely on American companies like SpaceX, Blue Origin, in the future Virgin Galactic, and probably others to get our astronauts and our scientists and engineers to space where they do the work. But we now no longer have to, we're no longer carrying people. We're going to, it's like a rental car agency, you know, so, and it's tremendous. And that was the most difficult thing to get done while I was the administrator. But as I look at it now, and we've had a completely civilian crew, and the Inspiration 4 crew that flew 3 days around Earth on a SpaceX spacecraft. That would not have happened had we not transitioned away from shuttle and into commercial space. There's an opportunity for people like you, and well, I've been, but for people like you, journalists, writers, poets, artists, we want everybody possible to have an opportunity to go to space. And the Inspiration 4 crew demonstrated that we can do that. We got to get the cost down. It just costs too much right now. But once we get the cost down, you may be the first journalist to travel to space and report. Here I am reporting from low Earth orbit. So I hope that happens.
Forward to that. And just to end this, because a lot of people are here to see you. This is for the Friends of the Vietnam Plaza.
Yes.
We want to remember all of our veterans. We thank you so much. He's our main speaker, so that we can keep this memorial going.
I'm humbled and honored to be here, first of all. And I think, you know, when I think about Mr. Phelps, John Phelps, who developed the award that I'm receiving today in memory and honor of his son. Like me, Phelps was a Vietnam veteran. His son served in Iraq. In fact, was killed in Iraq in 2004. My son is here with me today, and in fact, I think he's going to introduce me. I'm a Vietnam veteran. My son is an Iraq and Afghanistan veteran. And I think the semblance of John Phelps and Chance and my son Che and me means a lot to me. Yeah.
Thank you. And thank you for your service.
Thank you very much.
With us is Bob DiChiera, and he is the head of the Vietnam Veterans Plaza, Friends of the Vietnam Veterans Plaza. Could you tell us what that is?
I'm the chair of Friends of the Vietnam Veterans Plaza, and the Friends was created back in 1999 when the plaza and memorial had gotten into disrepair, and we raised money to repair it. And the board has, since that time, continued to raise money. And our primary goal is to make sure that the memorial and plaza and the Walk of Honor and the battle map and all of that is well maintained and in good condition, because it's just a wonderful place to visit in Lower Manhattan. And I often refer to the memorial as a jewel in Lower Manhattan, especially when it's illuminated at dusk. It's absolutely beautiful.
And it's located at 55 Water Street, as he said, downtown. And it also honors all the men and women, service women from New York.
Yes, the Walk of Honor has the names of 1,744 New York City residents killed in action in Vietnam. Plus we have plaques. The youngest service member to be killed in Vietnam was a New York City resident, Dan Bullock, and he was 15 years old when he joined the service, and he was killed in action at that age. And he was a big strapping young man, and he forged his papers and went to Vietnam and made the ultimate sacrifice.
And it's a big project. It also needs always a lot of funding to keep it going. So do you have a website?
The purpose of this luncheon that we have every year is to raise enough money so that we can have an endowment that would throw off enough funds to maintain the memorial and the Walk of Honor and the map in perpetuity. That's our goal, and we're getting there. This is our 16th annual luncheon. And I'm very confident that we'll reach that goal, and that memorial will be there, well-maintained, long after all of us are gone.
Well, thank you, and good luck today.
Thanks.
Hello, I'm Marty Edelman. I'm Chapter Secretary for the VVA 126, that's the Manhattan chapter, and I'm glad to be here to support the fundraiser for the Friends of the Vietnam Veterans Plaza. Some of my colleagues and brothers in VVA would have liked to have been here, but they are at the National Convention of VVA down south, which is this week. But so we'll have a small contingent here from our chapter, and we are very delighted to support the Friends of Vietnam Veterans Plaza to keep that memorial in wonderful shape so that we can enjoy it and show it to all of our friends.
Morning, everybody. I'm Gabe Stefania. I'm on the board of the Friends of Vietnam Veterans Plaza. I was the chairman of the Memorial Restoration Committee. This is our yearly luncheon, which is welcome to have back. Last year was a virtual lunch. Thank God that we're back together. This year we're proud to honor Charles Bolden. Charles Bolden was a NASA administrator, retired Major General in the military, an astronaut. We're very proud to have him. Over the years we've had some of the best honorees ever. We've had Mayor Koch, Mayor Giuliani, Sal Cassano, Bud Bucher, Donald Trump, etc. Just to name a few. General Jack Keane, General Petraeus, they've been our honorees over the years. We're very proud of this event. I think it's the best venue in the city, and I think everybody's enjoying themselves. It's very early in the morning, and we're all started already. It's a great event, and I hope that whoever's watching this can help support our Vietnam Veterans Memorial in New York. It took years to get this memorial done. We didn't get it done till around 1980, while the Washington Memorial was already done. So please help us in donating the whatever you have to the maintenance of the memorial. Thank you, and good afternoon.
I watched him as he grew as a Marine officer and I was a young boy deal with some of those things as we lived in Southern California. What he always did was his back upright and with a lot of pride. And that helped me make my decision in order to join the Marine Corps as well. And so for that, I'm thankful to him. But more importantly, I'm thankful to you all as a generation for allowing him to grow professionally, personally, both as a leader and as a father. And so I will not belabor the point much longer. I will introduce you all to Charles Frank Bolden Jr., my father, former NASA administrator and Marine. Thank you. First of all, let me thank Shea Bolden, Colonel Shea Bolden, for that introduction. I appreciate that. You kept it short, as I had requested. But thanks to all of you for deciding to bestow this honor upon me today. I'm incredibly humbled, but honored when I look at the meaning of the recognition. A couple of things I'll say though, that this occasion has allowed me. Jimmy Bonds. Now some of you are going, who the hell is Jimmy Bonds? Well, Jimmy Bonds is, you all probably know him as James Barnes. James Barnes and Charlie Bolden cut our teeth on the Marine Corps as members of Basic Class 1-69 in Quantico. And Jimmy probably doesn't know this, but it was during that 3-day war in November when I froze my, excuse my French, ass off and decided that I did not want to crawl around in the mud. I had an aviation option out of the Naval Academy, but I had gone in and talked to Colonel McElroy, our company officer, just before the 3-day war, and I said, Colonel McElroy, I want to give this aviation option to somebody else who wants to fly airplanes. I have no desire to fly airplanes. Two things I was not going to do when I left C.A. Johnson High School and went to the Naval Academy. I was definitely not going to be a Marine. I thought we were crazy, to put it bluntly. And I was under no circumstances going to fly airplanes because that was inherently dangerous. So that was what took me to the Marine Corps. I chose the Marine Corps because of a gentleman by the name of Major John Love. He was my first company officer at the Naval Academy. I was a plebe. He was like my dad. My dad was my high school football coach who taught me that it's not the size of the dog in the fight, but the size of the fight in the dog. He won state championships in South Carolina with undersized football teams all the time because he instilled in us a belief that it didn't make any difference how big we were or how big our opponents were, we could win. And so that's what I took to the Naval Academy. That was Major John Love. And at the end of 4 years, he had left at the end of my plebe year. I look back, and Jackie probably remembers this, but I said, okay, I want to be like him. I'm going to go in the Marine Corps. My dad cried like a baby. The Tet Offensive had occurred the year before. My mother cried. Jackie cried. Everybody in the family cried. They thought I'd lost my mind, but I didn't. And I wanted to be an infantry officer because he was an infantry officer. But she convinced me that we should go to Pensacola. I did. Fell in love with flying, and the rest is history. Because I had Marines who were my primary flight instructors all the way through. One of them happened to be a test pilot, a guy by the name of Pete Field, who ended up running the F-18 program for the Navy and Marine Corps. And he talked about how difficult it was to fly as a test pilot, how demanding it was, and how precise it was. I had chosen the A-6, the Intruder, because it was a difficult, demanding airplane to fly. It was and still remains the only true all-weather attack aircraft that we've ever had in the U.S. inventory. You didn't need to see the ground except a little bit of the runway to take off and a little bit to land. And other than that, you didn't need to see anything because of the capability of the aircraft. Now, I said all that, you probably didn't want to hear it. But another thing about the camaraderie that the Marine Corps brought me, and I think brought to everyone that we honor with this memorial, is the fact that we become, the Commandant used the term last night, we become Marines. Everybody else joins us. We don't join. We become Marines when we go through recruit training or officers candidate school or PLC or the Naval Academy or whatever it is. We become, and I like to tell kids when I'm talking to them, it's like somebody opens up your chest and takes a branding iron with the Eagle Globe and Egg brand, puts it on your heart. Can't get rid of it. That's why we say there's only one kind of Marine, and that's a Marine. We don't have retired Marines. We don't have former Marines. Doesn't matter how long you serve, you're a Marine, and that's what's so important. We had Tony Bika. Jimmy Bonds may remember Bika. Bika's wife, Michelle, was really pregnant when we were going through basic school. And came time to deliver. We were at a party in Quantico. Jackie and I rushed her to the hospital. And the doctors there, because I was up and down the corridor with the dolly and everything, and they said, "Are you the husband?" I said, "No, this is just a good friend. But this is going to be all of our baby." But that's kind of the way we are. And I think all of you who wear the uniform, whether it's the Coast Guard, the Navy, the Air Force, or now the Space Force, and especially the Marine Corps, you recognize the fact that we're family. And that's what it is, and we're family for life. You know, I really want to thank Jay again, because his introducing me today, it helped me to understand this memorial. You know, he's a veteran of Afghanistan and Iraq. I'm a veteran of Vietnam. John Phelps, for whom this honor is named, in honor of his son, Chance Phelps. John Phelps was like me. He was a veteran of Vietnam. He lost his son in Afghanistan. So the connection of bringing together generations is what you do. I'm going to stop because I've talked too long already. But there's another thing I want all of you in this room to understand. And everybody who's ever recruited for any service understands this. We live and die on influencers. Influencers. If you don't know what an influencer is, it's exactly what the word says. They're parents, they're priests, they're rabbis, they're teachers, they're people who make our kids what we want them to be. Sometimes they're like Maurice. You know, there are people that our kids see on television every day, and they want to be like you because they really like your style, or they like the way that you try to bring them truth. They may not like the news, but they want to know the truth. And those are the influencers that we depend on in the military to bring us, your kids, to be with us for how long or how short it may be. So I'm going to challenge all of you to get back to being influencers and to talking to our youth about the importance of things like honor, integrity, you know, commitment to a family, commitment to a faith, commitment to any cause. This is the result of commitment of all of you in this room and people who decided that they wanted to be friends of the Vietnam Veterans Plaza here in New York City. Without that commitment, we don't sit here today. We don't sit here without that commitment. So I am deeply honored. I'm unqualified. I'm really, to be quite honest, I live in the imposter syndrome. I live with the imposter syndrome. You know, every day of my life, I'm an ordinary kid who has been blessed to do extraordinary things. I know I'm qualified to do stuff, but I'm not really sure all the time that I deserve to be there. It should be somebody else who is more deserving. Well, it didn't happen, so I'm stuck with it. And the best I can do is try to honor you by going from here today to talk more about this memorial and to talk about what it means. Jared, you're a dear friend. I have gotten to know New York since joining the Intrepid board some years ago, better than I ever thought I knew it. I grew up spending my summers on 135th Street. West 135th Street. I had two aunts. One was in 111 West 135th Street, and the other one was 117 West 135th Street. And I loved sitting on the stoop or sitting up on the fire escape and watching the looking ladder come out of the firehouse on the corner of Lenox Avenue and 135th Street. Wilt Chamberlain became famous and opened Wilt Small Paradise. That's kind of the way I grew up. We got in the car in the summer when school ended. My mom and dad drove north, or they put me on the Silver Meteor. And so I lived here a lot, but I did not know the city. We try to bring our three granddaughters, beautiful granddaughters, Che and Penny's daughters, bring them up here and let them walk through Harlem to see where they came from. You know, why they are who they are, and why they are as good as they are, because that's their heritage, and that's really important. And I've talked too much, but thanks so very much for this honor. I don't deserve it, but I'll accept it and try to make you all proud as I go forward. Thank you very much.
Here's the most important part of the afternoon, the presentation of the Phelps Award to the National Treasure.
Michelle Della, please come on up. You're going to sing one more time for us? Please.
Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountains, majesties of virgin plain. God shed His grace on thee and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea. oh beautiful, for heroes proved in liberating strife, that more than self their country loved, and mercy more than life. America, America, God shed his grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood, from the sea to shining sea.
The only thing left to say is thank you and good afternoon. Have a safe ride home, everyone. That was spectacular. Thank you.
And I'm Kristal Hart reporting from the Metropolitan Club here in New York City. Thanks for watching. Hope you've enjoyed the show, and thank a veteran today.